everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well and you are all enjoying my 70s series so far. We've got two projects in today's video, two separate videos into one, two completely different projects. First up, we're going with the chuck it all in technique using mica and alcohol. So again, this is 70s, so I am sticking to the 1970s colors. We're going with brown, orange and yellow mica powder chucked into the tray. Now these mica powders are from a discontinued brand, so whatever you have will work. Any mica powders will do a fabulous job. First up with the brown. Now this technique is where you literally just dump a load of mica powder into the tray, saturate it with resin, saturate it with alcohol, should I say, and then pour the resin on the back. Now the mold I'm using is of course Molds and Shapes, but they are currently closed for orders and will reopen in July 2026 until September 2026, where they close for good, forever. So again, you can't sadly make any orders at this point in time, but if this is a tray you're interested in, write it on your list, ready to order in July when they reopen for one final time. Okay, back to the video. We have splashed all of our mica. Now this does look like a lot, but I was aiming for quite a lot of coverage here. I wasn't 100% sure at this point what else I was adding to the tray, so I did make sure that I put some near the center as well. I wasn't just focused on the outside edge. And like I said, you can use this technique in any mold, and also any mica powder will do. Next step is absolutely crucial for this technique, and that is to spray copious amounts of isopropyl alcohol all over that powder. I want that powder to be absolutely soaked, not swimming. I'm not pouring direct watery alcohol on. I'm just spraying until I can see all of those powders are blending and the powders are doing their thing. Now, do you remember this tray? So I made this a few videos back. If you guys did not see it, go check it out, because one of my absolute favorites. I tested pouring resin straight from mix and straight from, you know, letting it sit there for quite some time. It was that logo that introduced me to this bright blue. Now I honestly would not have immediately put this bright blue in with 70s, but it's on that sticker from Cricut Design Space. It was on the design and I thought, you know what, it works, so we might as well go for it. Now the resin I'm using in today's video is the Apex Crystal Clear, beautiful resin, and they ship worldwide, so your discount code for them is down below. The reason you don't see me mixing it in today's video is because I mixed an absolute ton whilst I had lots of projects on the go. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll get a whole day in my craft room where I just mix up a big batch of resin ready to pour multiple different projects. But again, this is Apex, and I'm adding in the Let's Resin Cyan liquid pigment. It is a stunning color and it matches that sticker absolutely perfectly. Is it a brave move putting this kind of blue on the back of these kind of colors? I felt so, yes. Usually when I do the mica powder and alcohol technique, I will be backing it in a darker color or a black, or yeah, this for me was a risk. But I figured, you know what, the colors work together, so what's the worst that could happen, right? What's the worst that could happen? The worst that could happen is that this ends up being a bit of a Marmite tray and we either love it or we hate it. But we're going to go for it anyway. There were a lot of wild colors blending together back in the 70s. So again, we're going to go for it. So I ended up mixing a bit more resin. I didn't quite make enough. I didn't have enough left over for this project. So you can see me here just adding a bit more and mixing a bit more of the pigment in just until the tray is absolutely filled to the brim. Have I missed anything out? I don't think I have. We've got the Apex resin, the Molds and Shapes mold. We've got the blue colorant from Let's Resin. Check out my description box, guys, because my description box is overflowing with discount codes from the washi tape shop all the way to shadow foam, all the way to all of the resins. And there is so many goodies to be had from my description box discount codes. But here I am just using a lollipop stick to make sure that resin has gone all the way up to the edge. Now, I absolutely love this druzy edge tray mold. I do. I fully love it. But Because the edge is so crystal-esque, it can produce quite a sharp lip. So always make sure you sand the edges or use your deburring tool to make sure that you do not cut yourself. 24 hours later, and this was the result. I did not know how to feel about it. It was way... I mean, A is a word, ugly. It was uglier than I expected it to be. B, it wasn't as blended as I expected it to be. If you've been with me a while and you've had a play yourself, you know what these mica and alcohol techniques results are. You know, it's not this. This to me did not look blended. It looked absolutely messy. It looked very, very scatty. Equally, I love the druzy edge. The druzy edge was, yes, thank you very much. Now, do you remember this? Now, like I showed you at the beginning of the video, I made a tray with this Cricut Design Space design on it. It was fiddly, it was faffy. I did not film me making this on my Cricut. I did not do a great job lining everything up in the same way I didn't do a great job lining it up in the first place. Now, at this point, it is definitely giving Top of the Pops vibes. It really, really is. For me, it screams now 70s music and Top of the Pops. It just delivers in that department. Now, I already had feelings at this point that the blue vinyl, the big chunk of blue vinyl there, I'm not feeling it. The tray itself has got a lot of blue in it. Therefore, that blue vinyl was the wrong decision. Now, because the Cricut design is individually made up of all the different elements, you can change the colors. You don't have to use these colors. You can put your brown on the outside. You can make the writing orange. It really is up to you what vinyl you put in your machine and what colors you have it cut. But at this point, I was just really, really struggling to get the vinyl to stick down and peel back the transfer tape. But I already knew I would see what it looked like with the 70s on top of the blue vinyl, but deep down I kind of knew I was not feeling that blue vinyl at all, and it had to go. So I also used my craft blade to cut the ends of the rainbow. See how the rainbow, none of them really match up. That's down to my poorly laid down and matched up. So that's all human error. But here you are. It had an orange 70s. It just did not work for me at all. It was too same on the tray. So here I am just transferring a yellow version of it. I figured the yellow would make it pop so much more. And I don't know why I absolutely love brown and yellow together, because honestly that was my secondary school uniform and I was not a fan. I was not a fan of my secondary school uniform back in the day, but now I don't know, yellow and brown, it just screams 70s. But yeah, I figured this would just elevate it and the yellow would be such a good contrast against the blue. Compared to the blue, it just was way too blendy and same. So again, like I said earlier in the video, this is very much a Marmite project. But at the time, I was not obsessed with it. Equally, I didn't hate it. I was just trying to work out what it reminded me of. And I think it just reminded me of pop music and the pop scene. And like I said, Top of the Pops. And I don't know if it was one of my patrons that said Top of the Pops, or it might have even been my sister. Like, it's been a week, I can't remember, but let me know what you think. It's also reminding me of those albums, you know, like Now That's What I Call Music, or Now That's What I Call 70s. It's just reminding me of it. And funnily enough, when I went to Google and I Googled images of that time period, it's nothing like it at all. Nothing like it. But it definitely is Top of the Pops. Look at this logo. Now, again, I don't know if that's a logo from the 70s or whether that logo came into play in the 80s. I have no idea. And also, I Googled the album, but it was 1983 before Now That's What I Call Music even came onto the market. How crazy is that? It wasn't even a thing in the 70s. So clearly it does not remind me of anything like that from the 70s. It's just a mishmash of all 70s colours together on a tray, not blended very well, but definitely giving those 70s top of the pops vibes. Once I was happy with all of my vinyl placement, the last thing to do was do a top coat. Now, Apex do have a separate top coat, but because I had a ton of resin made up again, I used the normal Apex for coasters and whatnot. And here we are. She is perfect. As in, the top coat is absolutely perfect. Let me know, are you team love it, team hate it, or like me, you're getting the vibe, you're just not 100% sure what side of the fence you sit on. The last thing for me to do here was to use my deburring tool and just get that sharp edge off. Now, I could, of course, use my Let's Resin sanding machine on this edge as well, but honestly, I was just not in the mood to make a mess at this point. Again, that involves water and a lot of cleanup. I had things to be cracking on with, so I just used my deburring tool. I ran it around this sharp druzy edge just to make sure that wherever this tray ends up, it's not going to hurt anyone's fingers. Once I had done this, I then added all of my self-adhesive cork feet on. Now, I watched Wendy from Toonpish Crafts video. Oh my goodness me, if you have not seen it, go watch it. She does some painting with UV resin. It is beautiful. And I just realized Wendy's got her own logo on a UVDTF sticker, and I need it. So I will have to be ordering those from Amanda Towgood at Resin Supplies Den very, very soon. I don't logo any of my pieces. It doesn't even occur to me. But yeah, here we are, cork feet going on, and this is another done tray. Now, I will be putting this into the shop where I sell all my things in town. Will anyone buy it? I don't know. It's definitely going to be one of those trays that someone either looks at and says, what on earth is that? Or someone looks at and says, oh my goodness, I love it. It reminds me of Top of the Pops. So hopefully I'll find someone who likes it. We are moving on to project number 2, still in the 1970s theme. So again, very, very similar, but 2 completely different projects. Let me know what you think of the tray. Next up, we have keyrings. Now, the reason there are 2 projects in today's video is because A, they're very similar in scheme, but B, videos on their own were just not long enough. I can't put out a video that's only 10 minutes long, and it's just, yeah, I don't usually do videos so short. But sometimes there are projects that simply don't take much filming, you know, and you can't drag out a 10-minute video to last 20 minutes. No one's going to sit through it, and hopefully having 2 projects in one will, yeah, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Like I said, they're very similar projects. This one here, again, was using leftover resin. Now, in an ideal world, I would have had more to play with, but I didn't. I only had what I had. And again, this is the Apex, all linked below with the discount code. The mold, again, is gorgeous. This is the 9 pendant keyring mold from Moulds and Shapes, which won't be available to purchase until July when they reopen, like I said. But this is my absolute favorite keyring mold on planet Earth. It is chunky, it is gorgeous, and you can make, seriously, I mean, it's just limitless what you can make with this mold because it's empty blank canvas for you to create your own. Now, first up, we're going back in with the blue. I did say I wish I had a little bit more resin to play with, and hindsight is a magical thing because really what I should have done was make more resin to fill these up more so that I can bring the colourful resin pretty much to the surface of the mould, and then all I would need is a super thin top coat. But as it stood, I just poured a tiny bit in the base, and then I needed to fill the whole mould with clear. And I will tell you why later in the video why that seemed to be a bit of a problem with this particular project. But back to the video, sticking to the 70s colours, guys. Can you remember any other colours from the 70s? A couple of you have told me, Claire, you've forgotten the avocado. I have not, I promise. The avocado video is coming, and I honestly love that colour because green is so back in fashion right now. Maybe not for a bathroom suite, maybe not for your, you know, your sink, toilet and bath avocado, but green in general is definitely back in fashion. as is brown right now. Brown and green. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, stunning, stunning colors. So orange, brown, blue, all going in. And I do use my heat gun just to remove any potential air bubbles. But honestly, I've barely got any resin in these at all. So I do end up needing to lift up the mold and just make sure that that resin is equally and evenly distributed throughout each of those cavities. But I am such a keyring girl. I know someone mentioned recently that all I make is trays, or they didn't say it like that at all. It was not worded like that, but it was worded along the lines of, you know, you use a lot of the same molds, you're kind of always using trays. And I guess in a way I do. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it. I'm not a massive jewellery fan. I'm not a massive coaster fan. I just find trays to be the most practical use, and I'm a keyring girl. So I will try my best to diversify, but guys, look at these. Thank you so much to Amanda Towgood at Resin Supplies Den, who is the UK's resident UVDTF maker on Resin Supplies Den Facebook. Guys, I even got 60s and I got 80s. I actually asked Amanda, I said, look, can you get this image? Because, of course, a lot of the Cricut Design Space images have come from, you know, Creative Fabrica and very much similar sort of thing. So Amanda used her software and found the image immediately and was like, yeah, I can get that. No problem. What would you like? I said, ooh, can I please get a whole sheet of Made in the 70s, because I want to make a series of Made in the 70s key rings, and this is what they're looking like. Guys, it's exactly the same as the Cricut Design Space. There's no way on this planet would I be able to weed something this tiny on the Cricut Design Space. There ain't no way, and there's a song in there somewhere. So having it fully printed all in one complete unit on a UVDTF that I can just stick down in, yes please, and Amanda came through with it. Now, does Made in the clash a little bit with the brown? Yes it does, but you know what, it did the job. Now at this point I know I've got a lot of resin to fill this up with, so I could use the Apex Resin Cure Pro Flawless Top Coat or Apex Normal for coasters. Both would work, but I'm limited. I've only got one little bottle of the top coat. So, and I've got absolutely tons and tons and tons and tons of Apex resin. So I'm just going for it with the Apex resin, and I'm not dedicating a top coat to this. I do, however, throw that through my bubble removing machine because, again, top coats are important and I need that to be as crystal clear as possible. And here we are. We are filling them up. Now, elephant in the room. If any of you have sat there and thought, oh, Claire, those logos are a bit small, you are not wrong, because what I did was I measured the mold, and the mold itself is 5 centimeters, and I ordered the stickers in 3 centimeters, thinking that would be perfect. What I should have done was order the sticker in a solid 4.5 centimeters. Easily would have been the best size. I don't know why I was thinking if the mold is 5 centimeters, you know, 3 centimeters for the sticker is a good thing. It really could have done with being 1 centimeter wider and 1 centimeter deeper. That's a regret of mine. Absolutely my error. I sent those measurements to Amanda. She fulfilled my order and sent me an entire sheet of these stickers that just so happen to be a bit too small for the mold. This is what we're looking like. This is the angle I was kind of like looking at when I top coat my molds, when I pour resin into my molds. I tend to do it from an angle so you can kind of see what I'm looking at as opposed to what you see on camera. But I ran a micro brush tool in and around each and every one to get rid of any 90-degree bubbles, and we were done. Now, on demold, we will talk about why I wish I filled the molds pretty much to the top with the coloured resin. This is my theory anyway. When I started to demold, I noticed one thing. The UVDTFs have crinkled they've crinkled up. Now, the reason I love my patrons so much is because my patrons immediately said, well, Claire, that's just a 1970s creased t-shirt that hasn't been ironed yet. I love you guys. I love you guys so much, because I'm just like, oh no, look what's happened. I don't know what's happened. But straight away, my patrons were like, yeah, that's fine. Crinkled t-shirt. Just call it the crinkled t-shirt keyring. And I think what's happened is the resin was hot. Like, I'm not going to lie. I've got my resin heated up quite a lot right now in my craft room. And I think that because there's such a huge amount of resin poured onto these, that I think the UVDTF has melted just a little bit because of the deep pour. That's the only thing I can think of. But like my patrons say, it kind of works. We've gone for a creased 1970s t-shirt look. That's exactly what I've delivered, but in a keyring form. So yeah, I wish the logo was bigger, and I wish I only had to put the logo right at the very surface of the keyrings with a simple 2mm top coat. But we live and learn, and if you can take anything away from my videos, I would rather you go ahead, not make these mistakes, and that is why I love to show you exactly what I think went wrong and what we could do better next time. So I'm getting ahead of myself on the voiceover. Basically, each and every one of these had a little bit of a raggedy edge, so I just wanted to make them smooth to the touch. Not too sharp, it wasn't something that was going to injure someone, but I just wanted to make them smooth to the touch. Now, I'm not going to use my deburring tool on something like this because it really is a sensitive edge. It's the edge that you're looking at when you look at the keyring. So the deburring tool is not the one for me right now. I'm too heavy-handed with it. I'll only use that on the base of a tray. Whereas here I'm using 1000 grit sandpaper. I'm spraying it with water, and I am gently rubbing the edge, and I mean the edge of the surface along this surface. Now, because it's 1000 grit, it really is only just going to take away that raggedy edge, that sharpness that I could feel. It's not going to eat right into the resin, and you're not going to see this big chunky white edge on each of the pieces. So it was just something I felt like I needed to do. And then once I did that, I cleaned them up with some water and tissue, nothing more than that. Gave them a good old polish before adding in the keyrings. Sadly, 2 of these keyrings, brown and a blue, had a huge air bubble on the surface, which must have come up from the UVDTF when the UVDTF wrinkled. So I will personally be keeping those, and these ones will be going into the shop where I sell my things in town. But I'll be honest, I'm not happy with these, as in I love them, but I think the sticker could have been bigger, and I'm a bit sad that the sticker kind of went crinkled. I've not experienced that before, so I will be reducing these to like £2. You know, I'll put them in a little basket that says imperfect result, £2, and I'm pretty confident somebody will buy them, because I'm going to keep the other 2 for myself because I still love them so much. But yes, thank you so much for watching both videos. Let me know which one is your favorite. Let me know if you like both or hate both, and yeah, I'll speak to you in the comment section down below. Thank you so much if you're here in the live chat. This was a longer video. It's 25 minutes long just because I've put 2 videos together, and I appreciate you all so much as well if you've been here with me throughout that. But I'm such a keyring girl. I feel like I could just stick to keyrings as opposed to giant trays right now, but let me know your thoughts on these, and I will see you all in the next video. And remember, everything you need is in the description box below. If you haven't yet used your hype and you've got any hypes left from your 3 hypes a week, please hype my video, and or just give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And if you have not yet subscribed, it is free to do so. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Bye.